First question's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, maybe this is a stretch, but is it fair to say that without Mike in the lineup, it kind of forced y'all to acclimate faster and really kind of get on the same page quicker?
No, I think that was gonna happen regardless. Truthfully, obviously for me, like I haven't had any like OTA work with Drew. Like we missing at least about 2 or 3 months worth of work, right? And so we trying to catch up to that. And I feel like it's starting to come about now. And I'm starting to get acclimated with the guys and the team. Like, you move to a new city, you move your family to a new city, and then you're trying to learn a new playbook. You're trying to let everybody in the organization know what you're about. So it's all a process that had to be expedited. And truthfully, I'm just now getting comfortable around just the city of New Orleans and this organization, just the people and how they go about their business. Because you think that in the National Football League, every organization runs the same way, but it don't. So you gotta kind of get into the flow of things, and so I feel like I'm starting to understand, and like I'm not a wandering off anymore, and people telling me, hey, we gotta come over here, we gotta do this, and so I know what's to come next, and so. And as far as Traquan, what a great job this dude did. Mike went down, he came in and filled in that role and filled in it well. I look at the Raiders game. This kid was balling out, and then the last game, 2 touchdowns to help us get a win. So I'm happy for him. He's a hell of a player, and now that Mike has come back, I feel like we got 3 dangerous receivers on the field at the same time, and if we can get that chemistry right, it can be dangerous.
I suppose that's kind of what I was getting at. Is when Mike is out, you guys all had to kind of learn how to play with him off the field. Now, if he's getting brought back into the mix, y'all have already had that kind of
Yeah,
chemistry built up.
yeah. So it allowed for me, like if when Mike was down, obviously my reps went up. I was able to get in there and block and a couple routes. That usually Mike would run. I was running, and so I got an opportunity to really showcase that I can do it, and so it just goes to show that if Sean Payton wants to keep a defense on his toes, he can switch it up and move the receivers around and do different stuff just to make the defensive coordinator stay up an extra hour at night.
Next question's from Amy Just.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to this in your first answer, but on your podcast, you essentially said that you haven't met your ceiling yet. You haven't reached that ceiling yet. What is that, in your opinion? How high can you continue to make this?
Yeah, obviously, I've had success in this league, and every year you're trying to top that. So the most yards I ever had in a season was 1,400 yards, and so for me, like that's what I say that's my ceiling, and I'm always trying to top that. Even though sometimes it might not happen, in my head I have to try to top that just to keep me motivated. I've been to Pro Bowls, I've been to Super Bowls, I've done it all pretty much that this league has to offer, and so where do I find my motivation? I find my motivation by trying to outbeat myself, right? And so I know that that's my ceiling, and I know how I felt when I was playing in 2014 at the peak of my career, and that's what I'm pretty much saying is that obviously like I haven't reached my ceiling. In 14 I was going and I had 180-yard games where I was just in my zone and the ball was going my way and the game was flowing my way, and so I can't I hope one of those games happen for me this year because like I said I know what I'm capable of. And if they want to unleash that, then they can. If not, at the end of the day, it's about winning games. And so I'm just happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to obviously crunch time and the big games. But right now we have to take it step by step and continuously make plays. And when the playoffs comes, that's when everything gets real. And I feel like that's where my role will come better in just being there before.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, when we talked to you a couple weeks ago, you mentioned about just all the different personnel groupings the team uses, and how you were still trying to kind of make sure you were on top of that. I guess how do you feel now with the personnel groupings, and is that allowing you to kind of play more at the speed you're accustomed to?
Yeah, well, I got acclimated with it a little bit more when Mike was out, but now that Mike's back, obviously we got personnel where I'm in the game with Mike and Traquan's in the game with Mike and I'm in the game with Traquan and I'm in the game with 12, and I'm in the game with Benny Fowler, and so now we really move. We kind of getting back to that, and so it's crazy because the first 2 days is just like they call the personnel, and everybody's kind of looking at each other, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's us too. All right, let's go. But in the first game when it happened, I wasn't used to that because nowhere else like we've done that before, and so now I kind of know what to expect. So I don't go into panic mode on it anymore. We just kind of sort it out, and then we go from there.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
The stuff you're talking about, the ceiling, and I know like it's probably easiest to measure it by yards, and yards probably is a representation of how good it feels. But is there also just a feel element of that, where is 2014 the best you felt on the field, and how close are you to feeling that level of comfort with what you're doing here?
It's coming. It's coming. Today was a good day, a great step towards it, and then the last game as well. To be able to get close to a 100-yard game, and a lot of it is just about confidence and comfort. To me, like confidence is being comfortable, right? And so, the confidence and the comfort builds the more and more plays you make, and the more times you rep a play with Drew, and the more times you hear Sean Payton say what he wants. And so, once I build that confidence, I feel like the sky's the limit. Then it'll take off, and it's coming day by day.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Man, I was wondering what you thought of the tempo of the offense Sunday. It seemed like that was kind of what we're used to seeing from the Saints offense. So what did that seem like from your perspective?
Yeah, it felt good. The tempo was definitely there. We were able to run the ball. And when you run the ball, how we run the ball, obviously it opens up everything. And so if we can keep our run game where it's at, the sky's the limit. Everybody talks about Drew, but if we can keep AK and and those guys running how they running, it could be dangerous. So we gotta keep that run game going, because I know and not to say that we've made the playoffs to even speak like that, because we got a lot of games to be left to be played, but I know once the playoffs do start for any team, the run game is what really gets you over that hump and makes you a lethal team to make the run. So if we could keep it going, it could be dangerous.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Emmanuel, I wanted to kind of get your take on Sean Payton and his philosophy. I know he spoke to us this week about how he preached to the team of not feeling sorry for yourselves with all the injuries and adversity with the late night on Saturday night going into the game on Sunday. You're a veteran player. You've been around a lot of coaches. Can you speak to that kind of tough love and not allowing the players and coaches and staff to kind of have a built-in excuse?
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton, my guy, man. Just to see him come to work every day, and the attention to detail that he makes his players pay attention to, and just knowing his offense, the ins and outs, and the little details of it, and how him and Drew work together, it's everything that I've always wanted to see, right? Because when you say I'm going to go play for the Saints with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, you know that this offense is going to put up points. And so it reminds me of when I played with Payton. You're like, wow, you sit back and you observe, you see, why are these guys having so much success? And then you see it day by day, and you're like, oh, okay, I understand why they have so much success. And so he's a coach, man, that understands, and from a play calling standpoint, it felt good to go in that game, and him tell me, I'm about to get the ball in your hands, and literally, like, I had a 100-yard game, but I really didn't have to do too much work. Every single play that he was pretty much calling, it was wide open, like nobody around me, and so that makes him special. And he has it. Kyle Shanahan had it as well when I was in San Fran, and Peyton had that. And so I'm lucky to be playing under a head coach like that, and I appreciate it and have a quarterback like Drew.
Did he specifically say to you all at any point, hey, this is how the league is, you can't have a built-in excuse that you have some adversity?
That's
is that part of his message?
That's universal, right? Even on the high school level, that's universal. Like you name a coach and say, "Oh, we dealing with this and we dealing with that. Let's roll over and quit," right? Nobody's gonna say that. Even at the Pee Wee level, it's always gonna be that. Like, hey, look, it is what it is. That's life in general too. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is the hand that I was dealt, and now I got to deal with it, right? And I got to try to play this hand the best of my ability. And so, when he said that, everybody already knew that. If you made it to this league, you're already built like that. And so, for him to say that, obviously it was more reassuring than him, motivating guys, right? Because guys are already motivated by that anyways.
Next one's from Amy Jets.
Yeah, you've played with some future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you've played with some rookie quarterbacks too. With the Chargers going with Justin Herbert this week, I was just curious, in your experience when you worked with rookie quarterbacks, what are some of the, the positives of that, and then, maybe some downsides of that too?
I think Justin Herbert. I don't really know too much about him. I watched one of his interviews. I think he's an interesting person, right? I think he's a guy that goes out and has complete confidence in himself. He reminds me of like a Gardner Minshew type, complete confidence in himself. Definitely different. So you really can't grasp the really. And I don't know him. I just saw from the interview. I was like, oh, this guy is different. Like you can just tell he's gonna go out and sling the ball. And in his head, he's not a rookie. He's going out slinging the ball and trying to win games, and he's playing with absolute confidence. And so that's just based off the interview that I saw. And so that's one thing that I say. Yeah, the Chargers are coming in, but he had a hell of a game last week too, and I think he threw for over 300 yards, and as a rookie, he's doing well, and so we got to prepare for that, and we can't take these guys lightly. We got to try to go out and win a game and put up points.
Last one's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, you've kind of touched on it a couple times of getting used to the city. I've been wondering what was the toughest thing for you to get used to down here?
First, it was the weather. I'm from Houston, but I haven't been in Houston in like 10 years. Well, I haven't lived in Houston in like 10 years and practiced in Houston in like 10 years, so I had to get used to sweating again. And then it was just getting acclimated. And I think COVID had a lot to do with that of, when to bring my family out, trying to find a house, trying to find a perfect location somewhere for my kids to not really leave the house so much and have a pool to play in. And so I think it was everything, just balancing everything, right? Because, back in the day, it was simple, right? I was, by myself, and I just had to worry about myself. I could live in a hotel, but just trying to balance everything, make my family comfortable, and then learning the playbook and get acclimated, But I think that I handled it all pretty well, and, I'm happy where I'm at right now, from a mental and physical standpoint. So, I look forward to day by day because it's just going to keep getting better and better.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you, guys.
Hey Trey, seems like you guys got a little bit of the pass rush going again last week. Just how refreshing was it to get that going again after the Packers game?
Oh, it's always fun to get after the quarterback, and we're rolling again, and excited for this week.
Next question's from Amy Just.
They seem to be, and not just on the ends, on the interiors too, rotating y'all a little bit more than normal. What benefits, in your perspective, does that add for y'all?
Well, that's a coaching decision, but from a player, I mean, it's when you got a group of guys like Cam, Marcus, me, and Granderson. I mean, we try to keep the level of play up to a standard, and that's on us.
Next question's from John DeSager.
Trey, how much are you, I guess, enjoying things now? I know, guys say, you don't necessarily, live off stats and everything, but you're being so effective now. How much are you just enjoying the game and what you're able to produce?
I'm a blessed man for the statistics, but I never really played for statistics. I love playing football, and I love striking blocks and getting after quarterbacks.
Next question's from Nick Underhill.
But do you feel like this is as well as you've played since you've been here so far?
I've always, kept tapping the rock, and I've overcome injuries since I've been here and all these kind of things. So building off every year is always a goal, so I always strive to get better.
Do you feel like getting into a rhythm at all? Do you feel like you're in a rhythm right now and things are just kind of just coming together for you?
I think with everything, it's all about your preparation, and watching film and going through practice and seeing the looks from the look squad. It's all a part of the end result on Sundays.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Trey, I know you said it's not all about stats for you, but are you at least able to talk some smack on Cam Jordan for like kind of tripling his sack numbers so far this year?
Well, I can tell you this. Last year in Thanksgiving, he had 4, so the guy is pretty unblockable. And, I've had the pleasure of playing with him for the last 4 years. I mean, that guy knows how to bring it every day, every practice, and I wouldn't bet against him.
Serious question now. What does it do for y'all whenever Marcus is able to get back on the field? But what does it do for you personally? Maybe just having a little bit more rest in between reps. What does he bring?
He's a great friend for one, and for two, he's a great competitor. And adding another one of those tools to our D line can do nothing but get us stronger as a unit and raise the level of expectation a little higher. So I'm excited to get back to competing with him and getting after quarterbacks with him.
Next one's from John DeSager.
So Trey, you also do special teams too. How much do you look forward to making an impact in that aspect of the game also?
Riz did a great job coaching me this camp, and I feel really prepared for anything they can throw at me, and anywhere they can use me, I'm ready. It's my job to do for the Saints and for me personally to, whatever they need, I'm there.
All right, that wraps it up. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
First question's from Luke Johnson.
Yeah, first, I hope nobody can hear the ice cream truck that we've got going on behind. Hey, Drew, just do you feel like these last couple weeks without Mike Thomas in the lineup, you guys have kind of developed maybe a bit of chemistry with the receiving core that maybe you wouldn't have if Mike was on the field, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's given a lot more reps to guys like Traquan Smith and I mean even Emmanuel Sanders and some of the other young guys. Deontay Harris has gotten a ton of opportunities, and I think just all the way around. You know, we do so much with our personnel groups and formations, et cetera, anyway. But obviously Mike is a big part of our offense, a focal point in our offense, and so when you remove a guy like that, you know, all those opportunities, all those touches, you know, need to be kind of filled by someone else. And I'd say it was a group effort, and I think those guys did a great job.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey, Drew, I'm making an assumption here that I probably shouldn't make, but assuming you're not still playing in 2024, what does this mean for you to just be playing against the Chargers? And, you know, just is it sentimental for you, or what does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit, you know. I guess I'd lie if I say it wasn't, but I mean, obviously that was a long time ago. You know, my last season there was 2005. Hard to believe that was, you know, 15 years ago. But certainly valued the memories there, and the guys who I had a chance to play with, and the coaches who I had a chance to play with, and just the way that molded me and shaped me in a lot of ways, and really helped me in my journey. And as I've come here, obviously played against those guys quite a few times, you know, with Philip Rivers as the quarterback, who was a teammate, you know, and now Philip's gone, you know, and it's, you know, obviously faces have changed over the years too, you know, since it's once every 4 years, you know, there's kind of a lot of new faces on both sides, I'd say.
You're not planning to begin in 2024 though, huh?
No, we'll see.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Sure, I was also going to ask you about special meaning of games. Obviously, you've had some of the most special moments of your career on Monday Night Football. 20 years in, do these games still get a rise out of you? Is there still something special about playing on Monday night?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a level of nostalgia there, you know, from being a kid watching it to having the opportunity to play on Monday Night Football, and now going on 20 years, like you said. There's been some great moments, some very memorable moments, some huge games that we've been able to be a part of in that primetime slot. So hopefully that continues.
Next one's from Brett Martell.
Hey, Drew, could you reflect just briefly again on, in the context of how you felt when you first left the Chargers and all that you've accomplished since then, kind of what's the moral of that story? You know, because now here you're playing them at least one more time, and you're undefeated against them, and the all-time leading passer.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's part of the journey, you know. When I was drafted by the Chargers back in 2001, it was my hope, my plan to be the franchise quarterback there for my whole career, you know, and obviously that didn't happen, and that was for a reason. You know, there was some divine intervention there, I believe, and you know, it brought me here. Probably one of the last places I ever thought I would end up, you know, in New Orleans and with the Saints, and yet when you look at the last 15 years here with Sean Payton and so many others, that's the way it was supposed to be.
And I think their quarterback now, when you played your last game in San Diego, I think he was about Ryland's age. That's just kind of interesting that perspective. What do you make of that?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this is my 20th NFL season, right? So most rookies are 21, 22, 23 years old maybe. So do the math. You know, it's inevitable that, you know, at some point you start playing against guys that were pretty young when you were taking your first snaps in the NFL.
Next one's from Catherine Carroll.
Drew, Sean was saying earlier in the week he kind of makes a conscious effort to not let the team get down on itself because of injuries or adversity, which I guess he got from Parcells. What do you think of that coaching philosophy, and do you think it's more relevant than usual in this particular year?
Yeah, I definitely think it's more relevant in a year like this because with the lack of an off season and the lack of a structured, you know, strength and conditioning program during the off season, and then
the lack of a preseason for guys to, you know, kind of work off the rust and get back into the swing of things and get young players a ton of work and just all those things, you know, the absence of all those things I think would lend itself to perhaps there being more injuries, you know, and I don't know the exact statistics, but I would venture to guess it's probably been a little bit higher thus far this season for, you know, across the board. Certainly has been for us. And yet it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. You plan on dealing with each and every season, each and every game. That, hey, you may be stepping into a game where, you know, you need young guys to step up and fill roles that they haven't needed to fill before, get significant playing time. And, you know, I always look at that as an opportunity for young guys to establish themselves, you know, to kind of see the up-and-comers and the guys that are really going to seize the moment.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
It seems like the offensive tempo was probably your best all season last week. What do you think was kind of behind that? What went into that?
Well, I mean, listen, we've made a concerted effort with that. You know, I don't think it was very good for the first 3 games, and so, you know, you keep preaching it, you keep working at it, and I mean, it takes everybody. It takes everybody who's on the field. It's the play call. It's, you know, the substitutions. It's, you know, everything that we do. You know, there's kind of a method to the madness. You know, there's a lot going on, you know, with each and every play and with the way that we substitute and who we're getting in the game and the tempo that we're trying to operate at. So definitely something that we have all had to work at, and I definitely feel like last game was our best in regards to that. Last question, guys. I got to get to meetings.
Last one's from Amy Just.
I don't know how well, or if at all, you know Justin Herbert, but they named him their starter moving forward.
Yeah.
You've worked with a lot of younger quarterbacks over your time in the NFL. I guess what are some, you know, pieces of advice that you give to them when they're kind of thrown into this situation as a starter when they're really young?
Well, I mean, for any quarterback, you know, I remember, you know, my first starts in this league, you know, and it's a bit of a whirlwind. You know, you feel like you're kind of learning on the fly, and you know, you're trying to absorb, you know, all this information, you know, the offense that you're running and the defenses that you're going up against each and every week, and it's just all so new, right? The new personnel that you're playing with, and so there's certainly that adjustment. But you know, each situation is so unique. Each situation is a bit different, you know, just based on the team you're on, the system you're in, and all those things. I mean, he is definitely a very talented player and can do a lot of things. I mean, some of the throws I've seen him make over the last few weeks have been pretty impressive. And obviously, he's a big, you know, athlete who can do a lot of things, both with his arm and with his legs. And it seems like they're asking him to do a lot, you know, which shows his versatility. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, sir.